Okay, let's take a look at the grip. Perhaps I don't need to explain to you just how important this is. It's your only contact with the club and the club face. So first of all, let's look at the left hand. Left hand is predominantly a finger held grip. What we're looking for is that the club is placed somewhere between the middle of your index finger and the base of your baby finger. So it's sitting across your hand and a diagonal, let's say, but predominantly a finger held grip. So once you've placed the club here and you're closing your fingers over, you can start to get a sense of where the pressure points are and where you're creating that firm hold. So as the hand is closing over, you can see the fleshy part of your left hand is starting to sit on top of the grip, which is creating that very secure hold between the last three fingers and the fleshy part of your hand. This is really where the pressure is applied. That's where if there's any strength in your grip, that's where it's going to be. Now as the hand closes over, the thumb starts to sit down the front of the grip. The length of the thumb can be quite an important thing. So some people stretch their thumb down the hand. That puts a lot of tension in the top part of your forearm. It separates your thumb from your index finger. Some people may be too short a thumb. It's creating a gap here underneath the thumb. Again, it's going to help. It's not really going to provide any support at the top of the swing. So we're looking for a relaxed thumb position which creates a connection between the index finger and thumb. Now, a couple of checkpoints here for you on the left hand. When you're looking down, we want to see approximately 2 knuckles, 2.5 knuckles. This might vary depending upon your the level of golfer you are. I'm going to recommend that if you're more in a beginner golfer, intermediate golfer, or anybody who struggles with missing the ball to the right, I'm going to almost recommend that you perhaps see 3 knuckles. This would mean that the V created between the index finger and thumb would point towards your right ear or even a little bit outside your right ear. Now if you're more the advanced player, elite player, perhaps stick with that 2 to 2.5 knuckle grip, but there's plenty of great golfers in the world number ones, who have a stronger grip. Very few golfers I would like to see with a weaker grip. So you're looking for neutral, 2 to 2.5 knuckles to strong. Really stay away from the 1 knuckle grips. You look down the driving range of a tour event, there might be 1 in 100 players with a weak grip. There might be 30 to 40% with a stronger grip, and the rest would be more in the neutral range. Now, there's no data to back that up. That's really just my opinion, but stay away from the weak grips. Now, as I say, the V between the index finger and thumb is a checkpoint. If you're stronger, you're outside the right ear. If you're more neutral, you're more somewhere between your right ear and your nose if you're looking at it in a mirror. So you've got a couple of checkpoints there. Now moving on to the right hand. The right hand is also a predominantly finger held grip. So when we're placing our right hand on the club, again it's across the base of the fingers. Maybe not quite a diagonal, maybe more horizontally across the hand, across the base of the fingers. Now as we're closing the hand over, the lifeline of your right hand meets the thumb of your left hand. It's really creates a nice secure fit and helps your hands work together. As Greg Norman, one of the greats, once said when you sort of cup your hand, when you bring the thumb and the index finger together, it almost creates this channel right where the lifeline is. So as you're placing it in your fingers, this channel now starts to meet the thumb of your left hand as your fingers close over. Now one of the important things here as you're placing your right hand on the club is this index finger and thumb. It creates what we would call a trigger finger, where the index finger is slightly separated from the middle finger. That, with the thumb placed on the left side of the grip, now the index finger and the thumb are almost meeting each other. So now as we're closing over, let's talk a little bit about the pressure points. The pressure points in the right hand would be more in these middle 2 fingers, and they provide a little bit of pressure, helping the palm of the right hand push down onto the thumb of the left hand. That's actually quite an important point to help you start the swing correctly and help your wrist start to set in the backswing. That the pressure point in the middle 2 fingers pressing down on the thumb of the left hand. Some checkpoints here for you would be the V. Again, there are preferences in this. A lot of coaches and players like the V pointing more up the middle of the body. I think that's more for the experienced, more the elite player. If you're somebody, an intermediate player, somebody struggles missing to the right side, perhaps your V can point a little more towards your right eye or your right ear. But if you're in that zone, I think you've got a good right hand grip and you don't need to worry about it too much. So I feel these guidelines are going to ensure that you're holding the club reasonably well, somewhere between neutral and strong depending upon the level of your play. But I made mention to the pressure points, and I want to take that a step further, give you some checkpoints that you're holding the club correctly and you're providing the correct pressure to the club. Your checkpoints are in the backswing. First of all, the left hand. As I made mention, these last three fingers are providing the hold on the grip, providing the pressure, trapping the club between the fleshy part of your hand and your fingers. And if you're doing this correctly, as you go to the top of the backswing, you'll feel a very secure hold of the club. There's a lot of pressure on your hands as you're changing direction, as the club wants to continue moving and your body wants to start in the downswing. If you're gripping too much in the palm of your hand or your pressure's not correct, you might start to see a gap or feel a gap between the fleshy part of your hand and the club. So that's a good checkpoint in your left hand. If you're gripping correctly, you've got the correct pressure, you'll really feel like you can maintain a secure hold at the top of your backswing. Your right hand, I made mention to the middle two fingers, providing pressure with the palm of the hand pushing down onto the thumb. Also, this trigger finger helps provide some support at the top of your backswing. So when we take the club to the top, say the club wanting to continue moving, the body starting down, the trigger finger very much helps to support the weight of the club of your index finger. If you maintain the pressure down onto the thumb, you'll really feel like you can support the movement of the club as it's swinging to the top of the backswing and as your body is changing direction. So don't neglect the importance of the correct pressure points in your grip. Lastly, joining your hands together now. Like with every part of the game, I want you to apply some of your own feeling to this. Yes, there's some guidelines, but it's where you feel most comfortable and it's where you feel like your hands can act as one unit. That's what we're looking to achieve. So during my demonstration, I've been using what's called the overlap grip. Some people call it the Varden grip, and that's where I'm creating a channel between the index finger and the middle finger, and my baby finger of my right hand is resting in that channel. Now, some people who say they've got kind of long, skinny fingers say they like this grip. Actually, I have got little short, chubby fingers, and I still prefer this grip. So I say it's a guideline. It's where you feel most comfortable. Now, if you are a little bit more shorter finger, chunky finger, a lot of players use the interlock grip. Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, people like this. I believe Rory uses the interlock grip. So there's a lot of evidence to say a lot of good players are using this grip. It's where you're intertwining your fingers, baby finger, index finger. Again, a lot of people feel it at their most secure with this grip and feel like their hands are acting as one. One of the last options, or the last options of the common grips that are used, would be the 10-finger grip or the baseball grip. That's where you're not joining your hands. Players who have very small hands, lady players, this can often be a good grip. It can really help you feel like you're able to using your hands. Maybe that's a term you might not have heard, or a term you might think is incorrect, but being able to set your wrists, load your wrists, helping you create some leverage and speed if you've got smaller hands. There are other types of grips. There's some great players who've experimented with different positions of their hands to try to find somewhere where they feel comfortable. I know you probably haven't heard the name, but Steve Jones won the US Open. He did the reverse overlap grip where this finger was on top because he broke his finger, won the US Open with it. So there's definitely different ways of joining your hands. Apply some of your own feeling. The key point is that you're securing your hands and you're feeling your hands acting as one. So I feel with these guidelines of where to place the club in both your left and your right hand, how to apply the pressure, and how to join your hands is going to give you a great starting point of achieving a good grip. But apply your own feeling to it, as I've said, somewhere where you can feel comfortable with a little bit of practice and feel your hands acting as one unit. This is the general concept. If you haven't totally got it by now, don't worry, there can be follow-up videos here, as I say, routines, drills, exercises to help you achieve the grip on the driving range and help you bring that change to the golf course. So take your time with the grip, no matter what level of golfer you are. It's a huge fundamental of the game, and it's not a coincidence that there's common things we see between the great players of the game, the great ball strikers, in the way they hold the club.